They liked the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
Carl Edwards free falling for a couple of victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team lineup this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome to another 30-minute edition of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. This is the Brickyard version, and this is Robbie Mays, as the name says right there at the bottom of the screen. I'm Tyler Burnett. Unfortunately, Robbie is back this week.
Unfortunately, you're back this week, too.
But the good thing is Rich Colbreth is not here.
It is a ridge-free zone this week.
He was.
I'm so excited.
I heard he was climbing around in the caves over the week.
I don't know what he's doing, but it's been quiet in the office this week. It's been really quiet in the office this week. He's on vacation. Craig Moore's on vacation. People have been at Eldora for the Truck Series race this week. It's been you've been able to get things done in the office this week. It's been really nice.
Well, Craig doesn't bother me as much as Rich, and the rest of them don't either.
Well,
for that matter.
Okay.
But
I bring this up to take away from the fact that I did not do very well at New Hampshire last week.
Good.
I had problems at New Hampshire last week, big-time problems with my team.
I didn't. So, and Rich, I beat Rich again, as I will probably mention throughout the show all day long. Rich was beaten by me, but he moved up to 6th place.
We have a new first-place person in points. We'll talk about that here in a little while.
Yes,
so that's big that there's been a change at the top of the leaderboard.
That's right. Anyways, coming up on the show today, Cole Whitt will join us. He's an adopted Indy native, I guess you can put it. His mom and him moved to Lebanon, Indiana, to start his racing career, 2007? Somewhere around there?
Somewhere around there.
Racing USAC midgets, sprint cars, Silver Crown cars. So now he's in the Sprint Cup Series, and he will join us talking fantasy racing and all sorts of other stuff. Also, our teams and our winners, and then Rango Fowler's picks. Rango beat us all last week, so I don't know how. I still am arguing with our producer about how he beating us. I don't think it's true. But anyways, we're going to take a break. We'll be back talking our teams here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
The Inside Line will return in just a moment.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, head to O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of the exclusive Do It Right rebate. Just purchase a set of Brake Best Select or Select ceramic brake pads and you'll receive a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Plus, enjoy quiet, safe, worry-free braking. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Leading the race in innovation, Freightliner trucks designed the Cascadia Evolution to lower your real cost of ownership. When powered by the integrated Detroit powertrain with a DT12 automated manual transmission and intelligent powertrain management, the Cascadia Evolution can achieve up to a 13% fuel efficiency increase over the first generation EPA 2010 compliant Cascadia model, keeping you on the road and in the race longer. Learn more about the Cascadia Evolution at FreightlinerTrucks.com. Freightliner Trucks. Run smart.
Stay up to date with the latest news from the NASCAR Garage weekdays on NASCAR Today, midday.
We can enhance the fans' experience, and I think that's what we really need to zero in on and provide.
Hear from the drivers and teams as they chase the 2016 championship trophy.
Change is good in our sport. It re-energizes people, makes everybody, step up to the plate, so to speak.
NASCAR Today, midday, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network, your source for NASCAR news.
Now it's back to Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett on the Inside Line.
We love chatting with you on Twitter about fantasy, and we always throw up some kind of poll that's actually been getting a lot of people talking about it. Last week at New Hampshire, we threw up a poll about Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske, who is the best in the sport, and of course I was right. That the fans would pick Joe Gibbs Racing, and Matt Kenseth, of course, won the race. So I would like an apology from you or Rich.
No.
About last week.
No.
Saying Team Penske was the best.
I'd like to point out that I had the winner on my team. I may have said that Team Penske is the best team in the sport right now, but I believe I also said until somebody beats them. And Joe Gibbs Racing went out and beat them last week. So congratulations to Matt Kenseth. I did have him on my team.
You want some kind of
That was a shining star of my team last week.
Okay, well, he was on my team as well. And I also had Tony Stewart. I also had Joey Logano. I also had a good team. Unfortunately, you did not have a good team.
Well, I was going to have a good team.
So the golden egg of my team, well, most people probably had them if they finished up front. You did not finish up front, so anyways.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, we're going to actually a real rectangular track that actually has real 4 corners instead of 2 corners, like most of the ovals we go to.
Wow, you just passed third grade geometry. Congratulations.
And some stats heading into this weekend. 11 times the winner has started in the top 5. So, Robbie Mays, what does that tell you heading to the Brickyard? Track position is probably king at Indy, I would say.
I would say so. I think qualifying is very important. It's tough to pass at Indianapolis, and I think even with the low downforce rules package coming into the weekend, it's going to be difficult to pass in Indianapolis. Obviously, pit road is tricky. It's very small, very narrow. We've seen drivers have struggles on pit road and lose the race as a result. And, Tyler, we've been doing this show for 5 minutes, and we have yet to mention the biggest story of 2016 so far is the fact that Jeff Gordon is coming out of retirement this weekend and next weekend at Pocono to drive for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Is that a bigger story? Is Jeff Gordon coming back? I guess it probably is, racing at Indy. But is that bigger than possibly the most popular driver to ever get in a race car is having concussion issues, concussion symptoms? Is that a bigger story than Jeff Gordon coming back?
I think collectively between the two, it's the biggest story
so
of
it's
the year.
One lump story.
It's one lump story. I think, obviously, the biggest concern we have right now, or the biggest question, is Dale Jr.'s health, and we want him to be healthy. We want him to have a long career and be healthy long term. But the fact that Jeff Gordon retired last year and is coming out of retirement, and he said, if I get the right opportunity at the right place, like Indianapolis, I would come back and drive again. And he's going to get the opportunity to drive 2 more races this week and next week and possibly more going forward.
Yeah, he's going to race at Pocono as well. 2 of his best racetracks by far. Jeff Gordon will race at Indianapolis and Pocono. Let's talk about his dollar amount, because I tweeted out earlier in the week.
Show me to
he costs $25.50, which is 50 cents more than Jimmy Johnson. In my opinion, that's a bit ridiculous. He should not cost more than a guy who's been in the car all year long, who's raced the rules package all year long, who's won multiple races all year long. I think they're giving him a little bit more credit for going to Indianapolis and having 5 wins there. Well, Jimmy Johnson has 4 wins there. So their dollar amounts are a little messed up in my opinion. And another guy, too, Chase Elliott, involves in the family of Hendrick Motorsports. He costs too much right now as well. He increased 50 cents last week when he has 4 straight finishes out of the top 20.
Yeah,
which is unbelievable.
I don't get Chase Elliott still hovering around the 25-50 mark.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
He's higher than Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, and that's wrong.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon, I think if you have the money, he's a good option, but he's not going to be on my team this week. Kevin Harvick is going to be on my team this week. Really good runs here. He's also struggled at Indianapolis over the years. He's leading the points, but Tyler, he needs another win. He hasn't won since Phoenix. I think this team going into the chase to feel better about the way things are going, they need to get another win at some point before the chase begins. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do, and Kevin Harvick is also on my team. The reason why I think Kevin Harvick is a good start this weekend is because he led 75 laps last year. Now, we'll talk with Cole Whitt here in a little bit about trying to compare apples to oranges as far as the high drag package from last year's Indianapolis race and then going to this year, which is completely different because we have a lower downforce package than even that. But Kevin Harvick is good at the Brickyard. He has a win in 2003. I think that and his driver rating is 7th best among all active drivers. So, in my opinion, there are 2 guys this weekend that you have to start on your team. None of them are at Hendrick Motorsports, but Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch is the other one. I think you have to have both of them.
Yeah.
Are you right?
Yeah,
am I right about that?
I've got both of those guys on my team as well. Kyle Busch has been so consistent here over the last 6 years. 6 straight top 10 finishes at the Brickyard for Kyle Busch. He won this race 1 year ago. Here's a number for you. No other driver has more than 3 straight top 10s at Indianapolis. Kyle Busch is the only one. The other 2 with 3 straight top 10s, Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano. So I like Kyle Busch this weekend. I've also got Chase Elliott again on my team this week. I'm getting to the point where if he has more of these finishes, I'm going to debate dropping him from my team. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. But for this week, it's a new week, new day. Maybe he can rebound and get me a strong run. So I've also got Chase Elliott again this week.
If you don't have Chase Elliott on your team right now, don't put him on your team. I'm just saying that, right now. But if you have him like Robbie does at 1975, I think that's a good start because Bain, Menard, Biffle, Dillon, I think he's going to be better than all 4 of them.
He never had really growing pains at the beginning of his rookie season. Are we seeing growing pains now, or is there a bigger problem here that we don't know about?
Well, he was 21st at Sonoma, which I didn't expect him to be good at Sonoma, though. You and Glenn Jarrett thought he was going to be. Daytona, he was 32nd. I didn't expect him to be great there either because he crashed in the 500. He crashed here.
Right.
And then, of course, Kentucky 31st, New Hampshire 34th.
3 straight
2 tracks
crashes
that I probably would have said that he would have been better at.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think he's going to be better at the Brickyard this year. His dad was great there.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't bad in the Xfinity cars, so I think, and he was great at Pocono. He led tons of laps at Pocono.
Sure.
So I think Chase is an okay start this weekend. Rounding out my team, I have Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, 2 top 5s in a row, first time since 2014. Smoke, I don't know what's going on, but he's on the comeback train here. One of the best in Brickyard history, home track, obviously. Take Smoke this weekend. I think you can't go wrong. I mean, I picked him up at $14.25 when he came back, and I haven't dropped him since. I think he's up like $1.25 now. So Smoke is a good start. You have him on your team as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've also got Tony on my team. I like seeing Fun Tony. Fun Tony is fun to watch, and Fun Tony is definitely back. And I'm going to round things out with Regan Smith at $7.75. So my team, recapping, is Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Tony Stewart, and our buddy Regan Smith.
I have Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, guys that you must start this weekend, in my opinion. If they both wreck, I'm sorry. But going into this weekend, obviously these are the numbers before the weekend starts. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, going to be the guys to beat. Tony Stewart is my 3rd guy. Jimmy Johnson's on my team. He has the best driver rating at Indy among all active drivers at 106.5. The reason why I'm starting Jimmy Johnson is, first off, he's 50 cents cheaper than Jeff Gordon, which I think is ridiculous. So just for the fact that I'm mad about that, Jimmy Johnson's on my team. I mean, Jimmy Johnson is great at Indy. I mean, he's probably one of the 3 best drivers of all time to race at Indianapolis. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, but he struggled the last 2 years.
Yes, he has, but before that, he finished 2nd. He finished 1st. And then he had 3 wins in the other 5 years.
Okay.
So,
all right,
we'll see. I think he's hit or miss. He's either 100% or he's like 25.
He's 100. He's either 100% or 25. And right now, at this point in the season, he's 25.
Well, I'm banking on the 100% this weekend.
All right,
from Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
Matt DiBenedetto is also on my team. So DiBenedetto, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. That's my team. We'll talk to Cole Whitt next here on the Inside Line.
Got a question or opinion about your fantasy lineup? Give us a call at 8444-ASK-MRN, and it may get used on next week's show. The Inside Line will return in a moment.
O'Reilly. If your AC is blowing hot air, let O'Reilly Auto Parts help bring back the cool this summer. While you may need to eventually service your AC unit, get immediate relief with Interdynamics R134A refrigerant with leak sealer. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Toyota racing team was born out of true American tradition. We've racked up 332 NASCAR wins. That's a whole lot of victory laps. Just last year, Toyota racing driver Kyle Busch took home the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. We even have Toyota drivers racing Tundras in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. But winning isn't our only tradition. Toyota has been in North America for almost 60 years. We have 10 Toyota assembly plants scattered throughout the United States. Those plants produce 9 of our models right here, including the Camry, Tacoma, and Tundra. In 2014, a total of 1.3 million Toyota vehicles were assembled here in America. That's a lot of cars. The production of all those vehicles has created thousands of American jobs. That's a lot of opportunities. Opportunities that we'd like to keep going for years to come. So let's go, America. Let's go, NASCAR. Let's go places. Head on over to toyotaracing.com to find more info on our drivers. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
We now return to the Inside Line with Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. Remember to invite your friends to join our NASCAR.com Fantasy Live League, where you have a great shot at beating Robbie Mays each and every week.
Well,
was the case
that joke did not get old when I was on vacation last week. Not at all.
Wow. Team name Carl Edwards Rules has now taken over the top spot in our league, with main star and Emily Mansbridge rounding out the top 3. Rich Colbreth, we got to give him a plug. Don't know why I do this, but with a whole lot of luck, he is now into the 6th position in our fantasy league. But I will say I have beat him twice in a row now, 2 races in a row.
Okay.
I have finished taking the checkered flags ahead of Rich Colbreth.
Okay.
So that's all that matters. We're pleased to welcome now Alpine, California's Cole Whitt. He drives the Speed Stick Chevy in the Brickyard 400 this weekend. Well, it's not actually called the Brickyard 400, but the Crown Royal presents the Combat Wounded at the Brickyard, I guess is how you say it. And Cole Whitt is on the line. Cole, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Doing great. One thing I wanted to ask you, most of everyone watching right now probably already knows this, but I will enlighten you if you don't. Cole calls the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series home right now, but he pretty much started his racing career in Indiana, racing, the United States Auto Club National Midget Championship. He won as the youngest winner at 17 years of age in 2008, and then, of course, racing Silver Crown cars, sprint cars. You and your mom moved to Indiana, is that correct, and kind of started home there and started your racing career, basically?
Yeah, pretty much from go-kart straight to 410 sprint cars out there in the Midwest, and pretty much did that right at the age of about 14 or 15, and that's why Mom had to move with me. I couldn't even drive myself down the streets yet, so Mom was there to kind of get me all settled and get things started, and that was kind of really where it all started before making the move down south to try NASCAR world, really.
And Cole, let's talk about your NASCAR career. You've come up through the ranks, driven for some big-name drivers in your career, and you've driven twice in the Sprint Cup Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, twice in the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You've driven on a lot of legendary racetracks. You've been around a lot of big-name drivers over the course of your career. What was it like for you the first time that you drove through the gates at Indianapolis?
Yeah, Indy's kind of a special place. Last year was the first year that Speed Stick came on board and sponsored us there, and they'll be back on board this year. So it's great to have them back. But the biggest thing about going to the Brickyard for me, is I grew up in Indiana racing sprint cars. I'm originally from California, but I made that move and lived in the Midwest, right there about 20 minutes from the Speedway, just chasing sprint car tracks all across the Midwest. And, I used to go to the Speedway almost every other week to actually pump fuel there because they had methanol in the infield there, and that's where I'd get my fuel for my sprint cars. So I would literally pull into the gates there, drive through the tunnel, and go get fuel. And, so I've been there millions or hundreds of times without, ever really racing there. And then the first time going there, you get on the straightaways, and the place is definitely historic, and, you kind of get that little bit of awe moment, but then it's right back to work. And it's definitely a place that you want to have a good run and try to, showcase your talents and your abilities.
I've heard drivers say that Indianapolis is comparable to Pocono. Is that true? And how much can you take from Pocono into Indianapolis?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty good, especially, Indy's just kind of its own animal in its own way. There's just all 4 corners are very, very similar, hardly any difference in any of them. So you almost kind of lose track really of even where you're at, sort of. But at the same time, the track feels, for how big it feels really narrow. And it's also a little bit weird, driving down into turn 1 or turn 3 there. And you're heading straight at a wall basically, and you can't even really see a whole lot. So, it's not like a normal, big sweeping oval. It's basically you're just heading straight and making a hard 90-degree left turn is what it feels like. So, doing that at 200 mile an hour for the first time is definitely a little bit different, especially in a 3,000-pound stock car. So, it's kind of a special place in its own way.
We can kind of transition there into what our show is about, fantasy racing. And Robbie mentioned Pocono, and you talked a good amount about that. Setting my team up this week, I looked at last year's results at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with a grain of salt because it was the high drag package. That's completely different than what we're going to see this weekend. Would it be better to look at Pocono's results earlier in this year, Cole, rather than looking at last year's high drag results at Indianapolis?
Yeah, I think Pocono can give you a pretty good guess to it. They also had the test out there not too long ago, so, a lot of those teams got some extra laps there. So some of those guys with the team, with the test, whoever performed well at that test is going to be good people to probably gauge off of, or that even maybe their whole, their whole unity of a team as far as even teammates might be a good area to look at. That place, Pocono is definitely a good one to look at, but Pocono has the shifting factor, which some drivers are really good at shifting, and here at Indianapolis, you don't have any of that. So, it's a little bit different, but at the same time, there's definitely some similarities.
That's a good point.
Cole, it's been a few weeks since you've had a chance to race the official 2016 low downforce rules package. Going from the start of the season to where we are now, how has that rules package evolved? Are you getting some of the downforce back now that you had lost at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we always adapt to the rules and always make the most out of whatever NASCAR kind of hands to us. And at this point, this low downforce is what we're calling it. Isn't even really our low downforce anymore. We got that one that we ran at Kentucky and at Michigan. So, there's even a lower downforce where they're going, they're taking more off the front and taking more off the back. But, the one thing that they haven't taken away from yet is the center of the cars, the sides of the cars, the greenhouse of the cars. The cars are still, relatively the same race car, just, smaller splitter, smaller spoiler. So, you can definitely feel where those kind of react, but at the same time, the cars still drive somewhat similar just because the car is still basically the same race car. But obviously, as you take those things off, you lose a little bit of downforce. But our guys, everyone in our sport, all the way the mechanics are so good that, they quickly adjust to that rules package and make the cars drive just as good there. I mean, I think we're running just as fast as we ever have, and we have less downforce and less horsepower than we did, previous seasons.
One of the guys who has consistently been on my fantasy team over the past couple of weeks, and that's because he's starting to grow in price. He's starting to rack up some top 5 finishes. He has 2 top 5 finishes in a row, his first time since 2014. That's a guy you used to drive for in USAC, Cole, and that's Tony Stewart. How do you feel about the way he's running right now, and does it make you feel good to see Tony kind of get back to it in his last year?
Yeah, I mean, I tell everyone it's kind of cue the dramatic Tony Stewart comeback farewell tour, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, here it comes. He's on a roll. He's feeling good, and momentum is huge in our sport, whether it be, the driver feeling good, the whole team, everyone's clicking. So, they're definitely probably going to roll their way looking to, make an exclamation point for his last season. So they're going to do everything in their power to step up and rise to that occasion.
Definitely. Cole, I know you would love to see the 98 Speed Stick in Victory Lane on Sunday, but if you were going into this weekend picking a fantasy team, who would be your winner this weekend? Who do you like?
Winner-wise, those Gibbs cars are really hard to really vote against. So, someone between, Matt Kenseth is coming off with momentum to maybe just put another win on an exclamation point. Any of the Gibbs cars are good. I think, RCR seems to shine at this track, so I wouldn't, maybe an RCR driver would be a good, maybe not so much of a sleeper pick, but maybe a little bit lower price for you guys to pick someone who's going to have a good day. So, that would be kind of the area I would look in.
All right. Interesting. We want to say thank you to your sponsor, Speed Stick, because if it wasn't, this studio would smell right now because of Robbie. So tell us about Speed Stick, and, they've been a long-time partner for you and obviously important in your racing career, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without without the partner in speech with Speed Stick, I wouldn't even be able to probably be here talking with you guys today. And they came on board and have been supporting me going on my 3rd year now, and they were there for my first real Cup start down in Daytona to make the 500, and it's been pretty awesome ever since. It's been a great company and just it's a real genuine type of sponsorship. They stand behind all the high stress levels of racing and every part of the aspect that our sport brings on. So it's just a really good fit. And they're coming back this will be the 2nd time on them being on board for the Brickyard. So Speed Stick also is doing a thing where fans can enter to win a deal where they come down and meet me in the pits and hang out for the race and stuff like that. So they always, kind of get the fans involved more than probably anybody I've ever worked with, which is pretty cool. Give people a chance to do something that they've never really got to, and just a chance of a lifetime to do something different. So they're always fun to be around, and just a really cool partnership that we've had for a while now.
Cool. Thanks for joining us on the show this week. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and also good luck at your adopted home, Indianapolis, this weekend.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cole Whitt, everyone, driving for Premium Motorsports. What was that written on the paper for, Robbie? Are you not happy with me or what?
Let's take a break.
We'll be back shortly here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
We'll be right back in just a moment to talk more fantasy racing with Tyler and Robbie here on the Inside Line.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Join the Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Get the latest news and exclusive interviews from the biggest names in the sport.
One thing, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't worry about people judging and just...
Hear the thoughts and opinions from NASCAR insiders.
Look at what he's been able to do with the Wood brothers since they returned to full-time competition this year. Now, obviously...
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
This is Steve Post, co-host of MRN's Wing Nation. We're hitting the road to Knoxville, Iowa. Join Kendra Jacobs, Aaron Evernham, and me as we broadcast live from the 5-Hour Energy Knoxville Nationals, presented by Casey's General Store, August 10th through the 13th. Join us live in the Fan Zone from Knoxville Raceway or listen on MRN.com 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Wing Nation live from the Knoxville Nationals. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to the Inside Line. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. Robbie Mays, Tyler Burnett. It's time for a little segment we like to call Under a Rock or Tyler.
What is this?
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
Tyler Burnett is one of 3, I think, since we started doing this.
Yeah, they've been some really hard ones.
Yeah, okay. This week it's a photo that almost everybody in the world should be able to get. Let's see if Tyler can figure it out. Let's show the photo now. Who is this person?
Is it Cher? Is it Cher?
It's Cher.
Yes! Yes!
Okay. All right.
2 for 2.
50%.
50%. Batting 500. I'll take that. That's Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah. Let's get to Rango Fowler's picks for Indianapolis.
Chicken time.
Chicken time.
Fantasy foul. All right. Our picks. Martin Truex Jr. is on Rango Fowler's team in the 78. Jimmy Johnson, who I mentioned is on my team, is also on Rango's team. Kevin, see, this is just ridiculous. Like, his team is, like, winning worthy.
Don't hate.
So Truex, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Chris Buescher, and Tony Stewart. That's his team.
Don't hate.
Jimmy Johnson is his winner. Chevy is I feel like Rango's going to win this weekend.
Probably.
With this team.
Yeah. Okay.
Chevy is his manufacturer. So
Okay.
That's Rango Fowler's team. Robbie Mays, who is your pick to win? What is this race called? The Crown Royal presents the Combat Wounded Coalition 400 at the Brickyard.
Very good. Very good. My winner this weekend, drum roll please, is Joey Logano. I mentioned earlier he's one of 3 drivers with at least 3 straight top 10s at Indianapolis, 8th, 5th, and 2nd in his last 3 races here. And he was 5th back in June at the Pocono Raceway, very similar to Indianapolis. So I'm going 22, Joey Logano, to win on Sunday.
I like the way they battled back last week at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. They did not have a good car all weekend long, and in fact, finishing 3rd was probably like a win for that team last week at New Hampshire. So 3 top 10 finishes in a row, like you mentioned, nearly won this race last year, finishing 2nd. I like the pick of Joey Logano, but my pick is better, and he is your defending Crown Royal presents the Combat Wounded Coalition 400 at the Brickyard winner, and that's Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch wins again at the Brickyard. He and Brexton and Samantha kissed the bricks for 2 years in a row. I think it's hard to beat Kyle Busch.
Okay.
In my opinion.
All right.
So Kyle Busch is on my team. Kyle Larson, Matt Kenseth, some other guys to be good. Denny Hamlin, a couple others. PRN, the Indy Racing Network, right?
Yes.
Has the broadcast this weekend. Hopefully you enjoy that. Watch it on TV. Jeff Gordon's racing, kids. Come on.
It's going to be awesome.
You got to see Jeff Gordon. I almost thought about flying up there.
It's going to be awesome.
To watch him race. Anyways, we'll talk to you next week. We're going to the Tricky Triangle here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
You've been listening to The Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MotorRacingNetwork.com or on the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand at the MRN.com Media Center, or download it through iTunes or Stitcher. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.